sat there and watched some gangsters beat up my nephew. I left out the part that I got my brother's high. I left that part out. But I told you I cared about them. Today I know it was a lie. I was incapable because I was under the influence of something that was more powerful than myself. So anyway, I come down here and I convinced my brothers at the time that I would, I want a fresh start. I want to come down here and I want to get it together. And it's funny because I prayed all the way down here. I prayed all the way down here for a different kind of life, a different kind of man in my life. And just like being in jail in here and roll it the fuck up. As soon as I got off that bus, I seen somebody with a 4-pack. I went right behind him. And I ain't know that motherfucker from Adam. And my brother said, Kimmy, where you going? And I said, nowhere. And he said, well, it looked like you was going with that man. Who that man? And I don't know. And I wasn't telling a lie. I ain't know that man. But he had something that I did know was going to get me out the gate. And all I need is something to get me out the gate. I don't know about you. But that's all I need is something to get out the gate. Because once I'm out the gate, woo-wee. I just got to say woo-wee. Because ain't no telling where I end up. Under a van, in a jail cell, in somebody's backyard, in a car. I don't know where I'm going to end up. In another state. I don't fucking know. I don't know. And I used to thank God for the stuff I would get. But I've been here long enough now where I thank God for the stuff that God has kept me from. All that running, ripping and running, not even in my right mind, hopping in and out of people's cars, ending up in different states, waking up with people I don't know, places I don't know. I don't even know how I got here, being arrested. They got to read me the report for me to know what I did. Crazy shit. So I come down here. My brother take me to go get something to eat. And then take me right around the corner to this homeless shelter. Not affiliated with Narcotics Anonymous. I know people that walk in here to get clean. I know that people that come from detox. I know people come from jail. My story is that I had to have help. I had to be secure. Because I'm not one of those people who can just walk into a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. And I love you if you can. I'm not downplaying you. I'm not saying you any different than me. What I'm saying is I had to be secure. I had to be secure, So he takes me to this building, and I look in the building, and I see people laying on the floor on mats. I looked at him with indignance, and I said, I ain't going in here. He said, well, where you going? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going in here. I'm not homeless. And he gave me a fucking reality check. He said, Kimmy, where you gonna go? I said, I don't know. He said, who you gonna stay with? He said, because you can't stay with me because you getting high. He said, so where you gonna stay? I said, I don't know. He said, then you homeless, baby. You homeless? Yeah. And so I said, okay, I'll go in here. But I'm going to need some cigarettes. And not them 305s y'all smoking. I'm going to need me some Marlboros. I'm going to need me some coffee. And not just any kind of coffee. It got to be Folgers. I'm going to need me some cream. It can't be just any kind of cream. It got to be Coffee Mate. I'm going to need me a pillow because I can't lay on this shit. And I need some linen because I don't know what they washing their stuff with. This me. This is me. That's why today when I help people, when they got to have all these demands, I say keep coming back. Because I remember what it was like when I had all them demands. So I go in this place, and of course I'm not going to stay. Right? Because I'm just looking for another opportunity, a lick. I'm just looking for another opportunity to get up out of there. And a lick came in, and I left with that lick. And I left everything that was important to me. my ID, my social security, my birth certificate, my professional license, all that shit. What I had left that were artifacts from my mom or my aunt or my left it all for something that would never satisfy me. Just left it. So I'm ripping and running, and I'm doing some time, and I'm meeting people, and I'm doing this. I'm doing what I do, and I end up meeting this guy, and me and this guy have the same birthday, right? And so that's how we realized that we could probably get together, is because we have the same birthday. I used to believe that old saying, looking for love in all the wrong places. And what I know today is that I heard the speaker say that love is not in the wrong places. I found him in a crack house. I was sitting on a crate, naked as hell, again, waiting on the head. And we moved in together, and 2 years went by, and he got arrested 3 times in a row, and they sent his ass off, and I was happy, because now I ain't got to go home. I ain't got to answer to nobody. I could just use in this man's house. I could do whatever I want to do. I'm free. And they came and got me too. And so I had this long conversation with my higher power about the things that I wanted to do when I got out of jail. And then they said, roll it up. And I left that shit that I wanted to do right on that bunk in jail. I got out and I continued to use. 8 months later, I run into him again. And he asking me all these questions. Where you been? What you been doing? Who you been doing it with? And I was like, whoa. First of all, why you even asking me all that? Because you already know where I was. You know what I was doing. And it don't matter who I was with. Because you know what I was doing. And he said, well, if you don't want to get clean, then we can't be together. And I said, okay, you know what? I want to get clean. Right? And I love it because it says a desire. See, I always had a desire. Right? But the pain wasn't great enough to ignite that desire, right? And so we get in a car, and he asked me. He said, because I don't have nowhere to stay, because I can't go to his mama's house. First of all, his mama don't even like me, and she don't. I was the wrong color, and I weighed 80 pounds. So yeah, she ain't like me. And so I needed somewhere to stay. He ain't had no money, and I ain't had no money, because all my money going to using. I'm not putting my money towards no rent. I'm getting high. I'm not putting my money towards no food. I'm getting high. I'm not putting my money towards no clothes. I'm getting high. That's what I do. I get high. That was my job. Get high. Full time. All the time. Yeah. And so I called the place, and they said, yeah, we got a bed. And I got off the phone, and I started talking about the birds and the bees and looking around at the scenery. And he looked at me and said, well, what did the people say? And I said, well, they said they got a bed, but I'll go tomorrow. He said, skirt. Stop that truck. He said, you'll go now or you'll get the fuck out my truck. That's love. If not for me, for his damn self. That's love. And I needed that kind of love. Because I'm not one of these people who you can go, I understand. It's going to be all right. No, fuck that. That ain't how the disease talk to me. That ain't how them drug dealers talk to me. That ain't how the judge talk to me. And that's not how the fucking police talk to me. They talk to me just the way I'm fucking talking right now. With certainty. Certainty. There was no mistake about what that drug dealer wanted me to do. Was no mistake about what the police wanted me to do. It was no mistake about what the judge wanted me to do. It was clear what was going to happen. So I go here to this place, and I'm grateful. Now I'm grateful because the gift of desperation has kicked the fuck in. And now it is much stronger than my desire to stay clean. Because now I'm willing to do whatever the fuck you say. Lay on the floor? Okay. Get up at 6? Okay. Make sure I make my bed up? Okay. Make sure I go to a meeting? Okay. Get there early? Okay. Read literature? Okay. Call your sponsor? Okay. Call 3 women a day? Okay. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Because in that moment of fucking clarity, I realized that if I didn't stop doing what I was going to do, I was going to end up dead and nobody would know who I was. I would be a Jane Doe. Or I would end up in prison for a very long time because I didn't mind cutting a motherfucker. Or I was going to be out of my mind. And here's the hit. For some odd reason, a quiet voice told me, you're going to be out your mind. And you're going to be pushing around a cart with all your shit in it. Lost. And that scared me more than not getting high. More than not getting high. That was my biggest fear, that I would lose my mind. So I got up running. I remember going to this meeting and I saw this lady and I couldn't stand her ass because she knew the literature very well. And in order for me to recover, I needed to know the literature too, because it says in this book, let me find it real quick. And this was the most poignant part of this book for me. Where it says, many books have been written about the nature of addiction. You know, those scholarly books where psychologists talk about us and they rate us and they give us these diagnoses. Yeah, them books.